We are on.
Are you sure?
Well,
Do I need to do an introduction for you? Do you know that's my daughter?
well, I didn't know. I kind of suspected it.
Yeah.
I'm catching up this morning a little bit.
She gets that. She gets that a lot.
Well, say she's so pretty. You're like, is that really his daughter?
How did that?
She gets all of her looks from her daddy's side.
Okay. Yeah. All right, new topic.
All right, here we are. How long's it been? I think it's been over 2 weeks now that I think about it. I was out of town last week in Indiana, and then the week before that, I think I was in Franklin. Wasn't that Shane? The week before last is when we was in Franklin for firearms training. That you was a no-show, if I remember correctly.
I was busy. Had some things at the office had to take care of it. I did my firearms training last night.
Oh yeah.
So
Did you pass?
I did my firearms training last night. That's hilarious. That's great. I've been in this 32 years. Of course, I figured out how to pass.
Yeah. We've been shooting. We've been shooting for a while. If everybody don't know, this is Shane Fisher. Shane's the Wayne County Sheriff, our neighboring county towards the west of us. And I know everybody knows Blake Grooms. I think probably.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know.
You're like Elvis. Yeah, everybody knows you. A lot of people probably don't know that me and you worked together for what, I don't know, several years back in the late 90s. When did you leave the task force? Was it around 2000 or 2001?
It was around 2000. Yeah, end of 2000, 2001.
Yeah. So you
I
started
left this task force and went to a different one.
Yeah, that's right. Now you started at the sheriff's office like I did back in the 90s.
Yep, 94.
Wow.
So I'm sure you're not as old as he is. So you started in 94, not the 80s, like
Right.
like
Yeah.
the sheriff.
Started fresh and young in 94.
Okay.
I was 92 over there. Thank you very much.
Early
1992. Yeah. Everybody knows when I started. 92. Yeah. So and then I left the sheriff's office in 97, and I went to the task force. You came along in what, 98 or 99?
99.
Yeah, that's when it was. We worked I-65 together.
How fun was it? Because I know the three of us know how much the game has changed, especially on an interdiction level, with all the new rules and court cases and procedures and stuff. But how fun was it back in the, late 90s? Just getting out there, beating the bushes.
When I talk about my heyday, back in the heyday of my career, that's when it was. I started a little bit before you did on the interstate, and you came along. We had another interdiction agent that was out there, and then for a while there was three of us, right? And then he left, and then it was me and you for a couple of years. But that was the good old days.
That was the beginning for me as far as interstate goes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It was different than working rural Wayne County, and which that had been my entire experience up until that point, till I come over to the drug task force, and then I began my career at that, working on the interstates, and had a pretty good run at it for a little while.
And I stayed on until Mike Reisner left, I think in 01 or 02, maybe 2002, and he went to Iraq, and I left in 04, and I went to Europe, and then we just kind of, that was back when the task forces were starting to kind of fade away a little bit. The funding wasn't there as much as it was back in the late 80s and early 90s, and we just kind of went our separate ways. And then we both run for sheriff in 2018 and get elected. Here we are. And if somebody would have told me that when we was on the interstate that we'd someday be sheriffs in our counties, we'd have laughed at them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was never a goal for me. It wasn't even a consideration.
Me neither.
It wasn't even a consideration. I had ultimate respect for all the sheriffs and thought that I could never attain that. Just that level and what it took to get there and stay there. But that. You talked about the interdiction game changing, so is the sheriff's role. It's changed a lot in 30 years.
And can you imagine being sheriff back in the 70s and 80s?
It would be a blast.
I was thinking, say it'd be a lot less stressful, I would assume.
Different stresses,
Well,
I would say.
Well, I mean, you think about it. Back in the 70s and 80s, and maybe even the early 90s, the sheriff was it in the county.
Yeah.
I mean, he was it. He was the most powerful man in the county back then. Now you fast forward to when we're here, and we're like way down here compared to some of the other people, you know.
So like when I talk to a lot of people about, I've only got 20 years in, but what is your best time? You know, do you like being a lieutenant? Do you like being a captain? Do you like being in charge? And for me, I've even said this to my wife. There are times where I've thought if they would just give me my dog and let me go back, man, that was a good time. Mm-hmm. That was a really good time. Now for you two, both of you are the high sheriff. You know, you're the man. But do you ever find yourself thinking, I enjoy being a public servant, I enjoy being the sheriff, but is there a time that you can recall that if you could go back to, man, that would be fun?
You go ahead. I know what I'm going to say.
Fun is definitely, I don't use that word when describing my job now as fun. My job is rewarding when things go the right way. It is the most stressful job I've ever had. And most people think that's hard to believe from where I come from, really and truly battling the Mexican drug cartels every day. That's what I did.
Criminals are easy. I always say that criminals are easy to deal with.
A big misunderstanding of what we can do in this role, I think is probably the hardest hurdle to get past, because a lot of people think we can just do anything because we're the sheriff, at least where I'm from. Because like you said, like you first mentioned it, it's the high sheriff. Mm-hmm. Even have judges introduce you as the high sheriff of the county, and that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of responsibility. And I know John doesn't. I don't take that lightly, which increases the stress level for both of us. And I think you can tell from our hair, and since we took office, it's changed a little
more
bit.
Me.
Not necessarily because of age, but because of, I'd say, the stress.
All the gray hair I got came from this job. I tell people this is the best job I ever had. Hands down, the best job I ever had. I love being Lawrence County Sheriff. But you're right when you talk about the stress. The stress back then, we was under a lot of stress because we had a really dangerous job. Yeah. I mean, it was really dangerous. So our job isn't as dangerous as it used to be. But I tell people I've got the responsibility of 46,000 people, 200 inmates, 100 employees, and an $8 million budget. You know, that's what's on my shoulders all the time. And it'll wear on you. But it's still a great job. I love my job. But talking about what you asked, if I could, I've thought about it. Man, I would love to have just a week, just to go back and sit on the interstate and watch traffic. I'd love to do it, but I can't, because that right there is the biggest distraction there is. You know, if you're sitting on the interstate monitoring traffic, you can't take your eyes off traffic. You can't have any distractions. You're watching every vehicle that goes by, and I've tried it a couple of times when I've come out and worked on a shift and helped cover calls, and try to park and watch traffic for a while and look. But your phone goes off constantly, so it's a big distraction.
Did you even have cell phones in the early 90s?
We did.
I had a bag phone.
A bag phone?
Yeah, sure.
That's
did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got the the little flip, the star. I think it was called a star tack. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you flip that baby open
That's
and take
actually
your
how
teeth,
we.
pull that antenna out. Man, I tell you,
That's
that
how
was
we
an
connected
attention
to the
getter.
internet for our computer in the car. Was we'd connect it to our StarTAC.
Yep.
Really?
And it was a dial-up connection that we used through our StarTAC back then.
I know it's hard for you to imagine.
I know.
But that was some good times.
And didn't try to avoid your question about is there times. I've been very blessed with not only getting this job, but the job I had before was my dream job. The whole time I was in law enforcement, that's what I wanted to do. I was blessed with very good bosses that let me work, and I guess took care of the heat that I'm having to take care of now to allow people to work. But I tell everybody, the funnest times I ever had, hands down, was my early days on patrol. When I first got in, I was, very eager to go to work.
Oh, yes.
Didn't want to go home.
Oh, yes.
I just worked all the time, a lot of time for free, that just because it was fun.
In the times it wasn't for free, you still couldn't believe that they were paying you
Right.
to do this job, and like we talked, a few times. When I first got into it, $9.21 an hour. That was my starting pay. And I was like, I cannot believe they're paying me to do this job. We would go on vacation. I'd be sitting on the beach. Out there, just nice beach weather. People playing, swimming, bikinis everywhere. And I'd be sitting there, but like,
Where are you going? Was you wearing your gun?
I can't. No, I wasn't that gung ho. But I'm sitting there like, man, I can't wait to get back to work. I can't wait to go 10-8. I can't wait to see if I can get a dope case. That's a good time.
Yeah.
That is a really good time.
Now you got. Didn't I see some kind of a news release or something on y'all? Y'all got some more dogs?
Well, we had at one point we had 3.
Mm-hmm.
One of them aged out, so now we're down to 2.
I got you.
Dual purpose, single purpose?
Single purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, we're currently in the market for one. We was talking, I think, the last show. I was approached by a handler that. You probably saw it. I think it was sent out through the TSA emails. Anyway, I called the handler, and the handler said that the dog bit him and the last handler, so we passed on that one. What was the dog that you had? Metro.
Metro, yeah, that was my first one.
So, story. Tell you a little quick story.
God, you might as well take a nap. It's gonna be a while.
No, it's not that. It's not that long. He called and needed to move his kennel at his house. I don't know if you remember this or not. And so we got down there, and he already had Metro out of it was one of them 10 by 10 pins. And he already had him out, and we had to move it, I think, up in some pine trees on the other side of your house or something. Anyway, so we manhandled it, got it around there, and got it set up, and got his dog house and everything back in, got it all ready for him, got him put back in there, and we went back to his house, and I was getting ready to leave. And I felt a little something itching me on the back of my leg, and I looked down, and I bet I had 10,000 seed ticks.
Oh, mercy.
Man, it looked like somebody took black pepper and just sprinkled all over my legs. I said, "What have you done?" Was this a setup? I couldn't get out of there quick enough. I think I stopped and bought a cheap can of something at a Quick Mart down there and was just hosing my legs down trying to
Probably
get them.
for breeze.
So you still live where you used to?
Same place.
Yeah. So, you still got a tick problem?
He don't.
It's not too bad for me. I guess I don't attract the ticks. So.
Holy crap! I got to eat up with them. But you had Metro, and I had that big black lab Buck. I don't know if Riley remembers Buck or not.
He passed away before I was born.
Yeah. We retired him, and he died, and I think I've had 6. I think I've had 6 since him.
I do have a good story to tell about Buck. It's when Mike had him. Mike Reisner had him. We had a roadblock down on the Natchez Trace one night, and there was a new park ranger come along, and that's when y'all had the state of the art cars. Or the task force did when they first got the interdiction units going. Mike
the interceptors.
Yeah, and it had the spotlights that mounted on the hood.
I remember those.
Yeah, and it was remote controlled.
Yeah.
And
I remember this story.
It was great. And Mike was up there bragging on Buck. He said, "I've got the smartest dog that there's ever been." And everybody's going, "Yeah." He said, "You don't believe me? Watch this." And we were probably 30 yards away from the car. Mike says, "Hey, Buck, turn that spotlight on." Well, he's got the remote in his pocket, and that spotlight comes on. That park ranger goes, "Oh, Lord." He said, "That ain't all." He said, "That ain't all the story." He said, "I'm telling you, he's the smartest dog I ever had." And he said, "Buck, shine that over there to the left." The spotlight goes over. He said, "Now turn it to the right." And it goes all the way over to the right. And that park ranger freaks out. He's like, "Oh, my God, that's the smartest dog." And he left that night thinking Buck was controlling that spotlight. I don't know if Mike ever told him any different.
No, he didn't.
The thing about it, I can see Mike doing it. I can see.
And only Reisner would have thought of doing something like that. That's how his mind operated.
I'm over here crying. That's great.
That was hilarious. And I thought I was believing it too because I didn't know. But after the park ranger left, they started laughing, and then they told me that it was. I had never seen anything like that. I was from Wayne County. We was lucky we had a car that ran, much less with a spotlight with remote control on it.
That's funny. So I got to tell you this story. So I hope my wife don't watch this. Whenever we got our new unmarked trucks for the city, for CID, the brand new Chevy, one of the options that it came with was a remote control tailgate release. And you punch it twice, and sure enough, your tailgate just slowly, falls down. So I get home, and it's just like any other cop. You get a new car. This is in all my career, this is my first new vehicle. So of course I'm calling her, before I even pull up into the driveway. I'm like, "You got to come out and see this new truck. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. Blah 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 blah." And she comes outside, and we're walking around, and this is funny because it matches Mike's story. So I've got the clicker in my pocket, and I'm like, "So what I think the coolest feature is it's voice activated." And she just looks at me and she goes, "Do what?" I was like, "It's voice activated." And she's like, "What does that mean?" I said, "Watch this." And I said, you got to tap the truck to let it know that, you're fixing to command something. So I tapped, the side rails of the truck, and I said, "Tailgate low." And I hit that clicker in my pocket, and that tailgate starts to ease down. She looks at me, she's like, "Not only is that ridiculous, that's a waste of taxpayers' money right there." And she just walks back in the house, and I'm over there just rolling. I never told her anything different, but
well, now you have.
Now she knows.
Now she knows.
What about what's going on in your county, Shane? What crime trend are you seeing these days? I know we was talking a little bit about your call volume before we got started, but
yeah, I have to say we're blessed. We don't have a lot of the problems and a lot of issues that surrounding more populated areas have. But our biggest cause seems to deal with trespassing nowadays. That seems to be the biggest, most recent. And then, family issues, domestics and things like that. But we've seen a big increase in trespassing. Of course, it's hunting season. We're a very rural area and got a lot of hunting, timberland, and things like that. So trespassing seems to be routinely this time of year is our big call volume.
What are y'all, the third largest county area? Second largest county.
Yeah, we're just less than 10 square miles smaller than Shelby County.
Wow.
What's your population now?
A little over 16,000.
Gotcha.
What do we share? 40s?
46,000. And I think we're 500 and I can't remember 540 or 550 square miles. I think is what we are. But we're not necessarily seeing the trespassing over here in this county, but domestics always fluctuate, man. You'll go through the summer months. It seems like there's an increase, and then they'll die off, and then you get towards the holidays when everybody's getting together, and you got your brother-in-law that you can't stand that's coming over for turkey dinner, and
a little eggnog and.
He's wearing out the welcome.
Yeah. Well, that's, on Monday mornings, we'll come in and we'll sit down and we'll go through the reports from the weekend and kind of get an idea of what's going on, which I've got my radio on, so I kind of keep up with the calls, but not all the time. But we'll sit down and go over the reports on Monday morning. And I don't know, it seems like 1 out of 3 these days is a domestic-related family disturbance call of some kind.
Do y'all have a lot of problems with dog traffic?
Dog traffic?
Yes, dog calls.
We have more for cows. Cows and horses seems to be our big thing.
How many? What, 40 a month? Dog calls?
At least, but I think, what was it, July or August? We had 80 something animal calls across. But we've got an animal control deputy now for the first time that I can remember. We've got an animal control deputy at the sheriff's office, and he runs his butt off.
Can imagine.
Yeah, he runs his butt off. When we were trying to get the budget increase so we could hire just an animal control deputy, one of the commissioners, he said, "Well, what do you think this guy's going to be doing in his off time? I mean, he probably can't have that many animal calls to keep him busy." And I said, "He's going to be getting comp time.
Right.
He's going to be working so much.
Right.
Trust me." And he does. He runs his butt off. But it's a relief having a deputy to handle all those calls. Because I know we were all patrol at one point, and when you get set up in an area and you're trying to make a drug case or you got a good warrant and you're trying to catch this person and you're camped out and you get a call of a barking dog or an aggressive dog or a neighbor's dog or something. Now we got a guy that answers those calls.
Y'all need any dogs in Wayne County?
No, we're pretty good.
Because we got a shelter, that they don't, can adopt out dogs.
Right. Yeah, we have a shelter over there as well, and they're overworked because it's just a couple of ladies that operate the shelter, and we do have a volume of calls with abandoned dogs or things of that, but they take care of most of that for us. Fortunately for us, most of those calls are in the cities, and the city police departments will handle those instead of the sheriff's office.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and we all work well together, so it's not an issue if they need help.
That was going to be my next question. Y'all got a good relationship
Absolutely.
with the city police. Walt, is it Walt still the chief of police?
Yeah, Walter Smith's in Waynesboro, and Steve Wilson in Clifton, and David Martin in Collinwood. And we've got a good working relationship with all the.
They let Steve
agencies.
Wilson still work in Clifton.
He's still there.
Oh my goodness!
Is he the chief?
He's the chief. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I need to go up there and see him
That
sometime.
dude is crazy. I'm telling you, some of the funnest times going back has been on the banks of the Buffalo River behind a duck blind and a couple spotting scopes, watching people smoke dope canoeing down the Buffalo River. That guy is hilarious to work. Him and Jeff Mathis together to work with on the river was some of the best experiences.
Those were some fun times. We used to do that too. That was some fun times. What about your you got your SRO program fully staffed?
It's not fully staffed. We're staffed more than we've ever been. We are supposed to have 8 SROs, and we've got 6.
So you're close.
We're closer than we've ever been. We started out with 3, and kind of of course, like everything else, staffing is an issue.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're pretty much half staffed on patrol, and the jail, and of course I have dispatch as well under mine, and dispatch is probably the closest to full, and then comes the jail, and then patrol, and then of course the law enforcement side is where the SROs are, so we're they help the percentage, but we're still half staffed on patrol.
So how many deputies are you running now?
Right now, we have 9 on patrol.
9 on patrol.
And we're supposed to have 16.
Gotcha.
So we're just about half. And then we're supposed to have 8 SROs. And then in investigations, I've got a couple. And of course, our admin staff.
So for some good people out there, with
Absolutely.
good morals, looking
Absolutely.
for
Good work ethic.
looking for not just a job, but maybe a profession, they can come see you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with that, my managing style is a little different than John's. And it's just everybody has their own.
Right.
We'll leave it at that. Some like it, some don't.
No, you got to be, and I'm not criticizing the younger generation of law enforcement, but it's different. You got to approach it different. Your leadership skills that you were taught years ago, you gotta hone them a little bit different.
Oh,
when
yeah.
You're dealing with the younger generation of law enforcement. Some of them get their feelings hurt.
Oh yeah,
Pretty easy.
I promise you they do.
And I can remember I got my butt chewed when I was I think I was working in the jail, and it was a sergeant. And I come through the break room, and I can't remember what I did or what I said, but I can remember him chewing me out. And I remember thinking, well, I hadn't got chewed out like that since I was basic training. I mean, I don't even know what I really did. And to this day, I don't, but I remember the butt chewing. And whatever it was that I did, I didn't do again because I remembered that.
Mm-hmm.
But now you got to be real careful about how far you go with that butt chewing, because I think it's just the younger generation. They don't know how to handle it.
And they don't. They don't know how to talk to people. They're all the time on that phone. They're messaging, they're texting, they're chatting instead of, having real conversations. Mm-hmm. And it's funny we're even bringing this up because I promise you, this is true. Just within the past year and a half, I have went to some of them old birds that were there when I started. And when I started, I was 19. Okay, the guys want to go down and shoot at the range. I couldn't even go buy bullets. I wasn't old enough. All right, I'd have to get Jamie Benefield or, Pete Schrader. I'd have to send some money with them to Walmart to go get me some rounds. But what I'm getting at is I have went back to some of them people and just have been like, look, I don't know, but I just want to go ahead and apologize, because if I was half the headache to you that some of these newbies are to me, and the supervisors under me, I'm sorry, because I'm over here, my brain is exploding when you tell a new officer to do something, and they look at you and go, why can't somebody else do that? It's like, my mind starts, just exploding, because I'm like, I didn't know you could ask a supervisor why, and I'm just, so, I have. As a matter of fact, it's probably been about a month ago. I'm not going to mention no name, but I seen a guy in town who's not in law enforcement anymore, and I was just, I'm sorry. If I was half the headache to you that I'm getting now, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But you're right. You can't handle this new generation, and that's why, in my opinion, a lot of agencies are not fully staffed, is because people who have the understanding on how agencies should be, ran, see that we're not getting the candidates that we used to 15 years ago.
Well, yeah, that, and I think part of it is there's so many opportunities. There's more opportunities than they were when we first come into it as well. Every department I know of is expanded. When I started, there was 3 deputies in Wayne County.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was deputy number 4, and then 1 left, so we were back down to 3.
Yeah.
There was no options of working day shift or not working on holidays. I mean, your job was, you come to work, your shifts we only ran 8-hour shifts, so we only covered, there was times when there was nobody out in the county.
Right.
And we were on call.
That's
you
why
can remember the world was different in Wayne County way back then, because we didn't even have magistrates. And the first time I can remember, you come over here and you're like, well, what do we do? We brought somebody to jail. What do we do?
I think I told that story not long ago when I come over there to Wayne County with that guy arrested off the trace.
Yeah.
So what happened?
There wasn't a magistrate on duty,
So what'd you have to do? Take him home with you?
No. So I asked the guy working the jail, I guess I need a report and a warrant to fill out because I just arrested this guy. And so I filled out my paperwork and I said, do you call the magistrate or do I call the magistrate? Who calls them so I can swear to these? And he said, no, you ain't got to worry about doing any of that. He said, they'll come by in the morning and sign off on them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's what he said. And I looked at him and I was looking for a camera or something. I was looking for somebody to say, gotcha, But yeah, they were serious. So I left that guy and I said, well, I feel like I need to swear to somebody. Can I look at you and say, I swear all this is true? But anyway, yeah.
Well, it was kind of just the opposite for me. When I left here and went to the interstate, or I left Wayne County, went to the interstate, and when I arrested somebody in Giles County, we carried them to jail. Of course, we had to do a matter. I didn't even know what it was.
Yep.
Like, what do you mean, a magistrate? I mean, I'm gonna write everything down on this warrant. And then I'm like, and of course they were chuckling because it was him and another interdiction guy. The road stuff was easy. It's finding criminals and stuff. That's always come easy for me. But that, when you just change cultures, it's pretty, it's just different. You don't know what you don't know.
So
right.
is dispatch? You said you still have dispatch under your budget.
Yes.
Is it where your office is too, or is it somewhere?
No, they work at the 911 center. They're employees of the sheriff's office, kind of almost like a task force arrangement. Like we pay them.
So you don't have an E911.
Yes,
you do.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where they go to work, is at the E911. They're paid for out of my budget, and I control who sits there.
So does this Waynesboro City have dispatchers there too?
We dispatch for everybody.
I got you. Okay.
So he's like the 911 director and the sheriff.
Well, there's actually a 911 director who handles. It's unique the way that it's operated there. We operate different than anywhere else that I know of. I've like yourself, worked a lot of different places and around the state and even the country with that, but we're just different. It works currently. I don't know if it'll always work that way, but currently it works. I could foresee a day where it's not accepted that way anymore. Maybe the departments have grown and have needs that they're not getting met currently. That's for the future, but basically I employ them, or the county through the sheriff's office employs the dispatchers. They go to work under the supervision of the 911. It's very similar to a drug task force back in the day where they assigned officers to the drug task force, but they were still paid and employed by their home agency. And that's basically the same thing with dispatch.
What about grants? Have you got any grants that you've you got any word on any good grants out there right now? I think we have the High-Vis grant, and we have a couple of DOJ grants. I think.
The only grants that I currently have is obviously the SRO grant that funds our SRO program. We have a couple of smaller grants inside the jail, but that's it. Highway safety is a very small grant that we use. That's really it, because of a staff our size. A lot of the grants, the issues that we have is we don't have to staff to complete all the requirements to facilitate the grant. All the reporting guidelines and things that has to be done to qualify and then sustain the grant. We don't have the personnel for that, because we're all, even myself will go out and answer calls, and that's routinely. We're just so small and understaffed, and
I'm always looking for a heads up on any good grants.
Yeah.
There's every now and then one will come out from under the woodwork, that you got to get on pretty quick before everybody beats you to it, because a lot of them's first come first serve. You can offset a lot of money. We're about to change over body cameras pretty soon, and I don't know if we secured a grant or we're trying to. I can't remember. I know we had a grant that covered our vests. We're coming up on 5 years on a big big turnover on our vest panels. A lot of people don't know that vest panels are only guaranteed for 5 years.
Expire.
So we gotta get a bunch of those.
How many people y'all got in your jail?
We average about 130 currently. When I first come in, we were averaging 150 to 160. We worked very hard for a few years, and it slowed down. A lot of our problems slowed down. To be quite honest, because we sent a lot of people to prison with our cases we made, and we're kind of reaping those benefits now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's but we're down to, we didn't see a decline during COVID, which I know a lot of y'all did. Y'all saw a big decline, and most places did, but our numbers never dropped during COVID. We kept ours there, and
how many beds do you have?
it's a 128 bed facility. That's for. That's
so you stay right around capacity.
Oh, we're always at or over, because that doesn't include our front temporary beds. The 128 is just for the main jail. Once we get them in, get them medically cleared and all that kind of stuff, they'll go to the back and into the pods. And
yeah, it pays dividends when you when you really enforce. Well, when I took office, we enforced that zero tolerance policy, and we filled that jail up. Yeah. I mean, we had about 60 sleeping in the floor. We were borrowing beds from another county, so the inmates could have something to sleep on other than the floor. And then here comes COVID in 2020, and the court system just did early releases and reinstated probation on, heck, I think it was around 100 inmates over a 6-8 month period. Put a lot of them out. And I'm not saying that all of them went right back to committing crimes, but a lot of them did, and a lot of them straightened up. And then you look at our overdose deaths over the past since COVID. I don't know that number, but it seems like we had a lot of them, just because we saw fentanyl really move into our county for a while. And fentanyl took out several people that was frequent flyers in the jail.
So when fentanyl really started moving into Tennessee, I can remember Tommy Farmer gave me a call. Excuse me. And you know how Tommy is when you first get on the phone with him, and it's never straight to the point. It's like, Blake, and I'm like, hey, Tommy, it's like, Blake, what do we need to do to help your area start reporting these fentanyl overdoses? And I was like, well, Tommy, has there been some problems? He's like, well, we're not seeing any numbers. He said, and we really need these numbers. I'm like, well, Tommy, we're not really seeing any overdoses, right now. And, to save time for the conversation, because Lawrence County and Wayne County were predominantly heavy meth counties, I think the three of us can agree that the fentanyl wasn't rushed in as much as you seen in Murray County, Giles County, Marshall County, Williams and stuff like that. Or Sheriff, are y'all like us? I mean, fentanyl. It's here. It's heavy. It's prevalent. What's your opinion on meth versus fentanyl and so on?
We're again, we're a little different over in Wayne County. Meth is still our big issue. Fentanyl we have. It's not prevalent. Meth is still seems to be the most sought after drug of choice over in Wayne County. But fentanyl is there, obviously. And I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. It's fortunate for us, as in reporting, we don't have a lot of fentanyl overdoses because we don't have the clientele to support fentanyl dealers at a level that, and it's my opinion, is when these people that are addicted to fentanyl or opioids, as soon as they go purchase it at these places that can sustain the market, they take it right then, and that's where they're overdosing.
Right.
For the most part. there's obviously some's going to bring it back and and utilize it. And we've had a few overdoses of fentanyl, but nothing near the problem of some of our surrounding counties, or it seems to be ours. Looks like south of the state line seems to be where our biggest, because that's our closest larger city, and that seems to be where it comes from. 90%, I would say easy 90% of all of our drugs come from out of state.
Gotcha. Yeah, whenever it hit over here, I mean, it went from almost nothing to the tidal wave came in, to the point where, all of our patrolmen, every single one of them was issued 2 doses of Narcan because it was just overwhelmingly here. But speaking of dope, when are you going to announce what you've gave us a preview on about a case that...
Well, I'm still sitting on it, not by choice, because I'd like to put it out there, but it's a multi-agency investigation, and the feds are heading it up, so we're kind of waiting on them.
So we're still waiting on them.
We don't want to jump too early because I think there's 18 people listed that are going to get federally indicted that's connected with this syndicate, and we don't want to give it up too early and jeopardize not getting all these people rounded up and put in jail. So it's, I mean, and I think it's pretty much case closed. I think that big amount that we got shut it down, but we can't. We got to wait. You know
Still
how it is. Yeah. You don't want to bark. You don't want to bark too early, and scare everything off. So, but yeah, I'm keeping up with that pretty much weekly. Matter of fact, I just had a conversation with a couple of people yesterday and told them that it needs to be out there to the public. Mm-hmm. People need to know what we did, but we gotta hold off a little while longer. It's like having it's like a kid, getting up at daylight, and going in and sitting around the Christmas tree waiting to open up your presents.
Oh yeah.
And your mom and daddy telling you gotta do this first, you gotta do that first.
That's one of the odd things that I felt out about this job. You obviously, you're asking questions about the job, and the difference is knowing what we know and not being able to talk about it.
No, that's rough.
That's one of the hardest things, and to carry on as normal when you know all these things.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes good news, sometimes bad news.
Yeah, both ways.
Yeah, sometimes you can't say anything. You just gotta. And then like if it's an ongoing investigation, you want to tell people really what happened. You want to tell them the truth. You want to be able to say this is what happened, and this is how it happened, and this is why it happened. But you can't say nothing, because you might jeopardize the investigation. Right. So you just kind of.
And that's rough because, especially as an elected official, there's several different reasons and motives why you want to tell people. Mm-hmm. One, you want to tell the citizens, hey, your tax dollars are going to good use. Two, as administrators, you want to brag on your people. Hey, look at what my guys and gals have done. Not only do they come to work, they show up and they show out. Mm-hmm. And then two, you're an elected official. If the citizens see that you're doing a good job, you're beating the bushes, you're making heads spin, that's just more votes for you at the end of the day. So that's rough to know all this and not be able to go out and tell it. Yeah.
The biggest thing I think I hear talking to the public about what's going on at the sheriff's. I mean, people always ask me, hey, what's going on at the sheriff's office? Things pretty quiet. And I said, well, I don't want to say that word, and jinx it. But, things are running really good right now. And the majority of people that will ask you, hey, how's things going? And once you tell them your answer, they'll say, well, I'm not hearing nothing out of it, so it must be all right. And that's, in reality, I think that's the general public, is they want low maintenance law enforcement. They want low maintenance law enforcement. They want to know that you're out there working hard and doing the right thing, but they don't want to hear about a bunch of craziness going on,
Right.
So I mean, that's, yeah, if that's what most people think about, then yeah, it's good right now. But like I said, I don't want to say the quiet word.
The quiet
As
word.
soon as you say the quiet word, something breaks loose. I said it the other day, and I got a couple of day shift deputies. I got a new hire that's really good. He's a really solid young man, tall, lanky son of a gun. Played college baseball. Guess he can throw it like 100 miles an hour or something, you know. And he was teamed up with another deputy that I got, and he's a go-getter. I mean, he's just a really solid deputy. I mean, I got all my deputies are solid, but this guy, he's just keeps his head down. He comes in, he works hard, and goes home. And he's always getting into something. He's one of those guys that loves going there and find warrants on people that are almost always going to run or fight or both. And that's the ones he goes after. And he knows how to find them. And we was standing around the other day, and I said something. I said, man, it's quiet around here. And it wasn't 30 seconds, the radio cracked. And you could hear the breathing heavy on the radio. He had one running from him. They wound up catching him and bringing him in, but it couldn't have been any more perfect time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to get an evil look, mention that word around the jail or patrol, because they don't want to hear it.
Yeah. They'll set up. So have you got something? Are you able to show us? Have we got time to? No, we got like 9 minutes.
You want to?
Yeah, go on ahead and play something. We'll watch it and see. Do you know anything about this video, where it was, or what state it was? I mean, a lot of
I
people.
think they say them, but I'm not
A
positive.
lot of people don't understand that state laws differ from state to state.
Right.
So they'll watch a cop show, and they'll see deputies or law enforcement officers doing something or saying something, and they'll say, well, how could they do that? I mean, they did that. How come you couldn't do that? Well, I got a state law in Tennessee that says I can't do that.
Right.
You know?
Okay, let's see.
The most worst nightmare. Every day, thousands of dogs.
Oh, it's another dog bite video.
And it's nothing short of heroic when police dogs save the day. We start with a clip that's action-packed.
Have you got any Belgians right now? Have you got any Malinois?
No, I've got a Dutch, and then trying to think the other breed. It's a smaller dog. It's just a single purpose. So.
I'm picking up a shepherd one day this week. Young dog, about half grown. We'll see if he can see if he's trainable. Oh, this isn't going to end good at all.
Oh, he's carrying a bag with him.
He had to stop and get his backpack.
All right, here comes the cavalry.
There, you got him.
Ooh, in the ear.
He's trying. Call him off. He said, thank you.
I'm pretty sure at this point in my, I think you believe if you can still kind of hear words.
he was in so much pain. He said, "Thank you."
First bit of manners he's shown in years.
Oh, that's great.
So, did you ever have a dual-purpose dog?
Never have.
Never have?
Mine's always been narcotics.
Like we've discussed, mine was just a single purpose, but I'd go down to Huntsville every third Wednesday and train with Mike Posey and them, and all the single purpose guys got to volunteer to wear the bite suit, and gosh, you've got a bite suit on. You know that dog's not going to tear you up, but it's still so scary, and it hurts so bad when them dogs lock on.
It's amazing the power they have in their jaws. It's absolutely amazing.
Unbelievable power.
Even single-purpose dogs, like they may, coming from another country, they may not meet their standard, but would pass some standards here for a dual purpose. And in Metro, the one you was talking about, had one of the strongest bites of any dog I've ever been around. Mm-hmm. But he was really and truly just a big old baby, and but he loved that sleeve. He put a sleeve on. He was he was a nightmare
Really?
with a sleeve. You take the sleeve off, he'd rub up against you like a little kitten or something. But yeah, he was a beast too. He was about 110 pounds. He was,
Big
he was
boy.
a big
Yeah,
shepherd.
he was. He was a big shepherd. I remember. He was a good dog too.
Oh yeah.
He reminded me of my last dog, Vic, in his build. He's just a big frame dog,
Yeah.
big frame shepherd. And the big frame dogs don't always hit the hardest.
No.
I'm telling you, the 70-pound miles coming at you doing 50 miles an hour and hit you will hurt you worse than the big dog that comes up and just bites the crap out of you.
I had a little female male, single purpose again, and she hit me. She jumped up over my head and bit me on top of the head, trying to get her toy.
I was going to say, what was you doing to her?
I was just trying to get her, and she jumped over my head and there's a scar right up in the center of my head where she bit me. I bled like a stuck hog. It looked like she ripped my head off.
Them miles are crazy.
I got 12 stitches right there from one going after his Kong. Mm-hmm. That wasn't long after I got home neither. So what you got going on here in the near future, Shane? Anything?
Well, hopefully a lot of hired interviews.
Yeah, yeah.
That's, I hope
We're
to get
in the
more
same
out there.
shape. I think we have 4 openings right now. We just put some stuff out on social media the other day, letting people know they need to come apply. We've got checkpoints coming up on Halloween night, and is Halloween on a Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
It's on a Friday, so our checkpoints are going to be Friday night and Saturday night. We'll be, I think we've already put it out, but we'll be putting it back out again next week.
Do you coordinate those with other agencies, or just strictly sheriff's office?
No, it's just sheriff's office checkpoint. There's sobriety checkpoints is what they are, and we'll give up the locations coming up. And it's it's something else that we do to let parents know that we're going to be out and about on Halloween night, and for the kids that think that it's a good time to go out and roll yards or egg vehicles or soap windows or whatever, so I'm saying that to say that, if you come through a checkpoint and we see eggs and toilet paper and some other stuff in your vehicle, you might be in a little bit of trouble. So tell all your...
So is that just to the teenagers, or does that include adults?
that goes to the parents too that are buying it for them.
Did y'all hear about that Alabama agency that got rolled a few weeks back? I reckon I think it was some high school. They won a big football game or whatever. Well, I guess some of the kids thought it would be a pretty good idea to go out and roll the police department, and did it. And I mean, did a pretty good job, to the point where the police department even recognized it, put it out on social media,
And they didn't get caught.
They didn't get caught, and they had some fun with
They
it.
need some cameras like I got around my office.
Yeah.
I got some cameras that can read a credit card in your back pocket of your pants from across the parking lot.
And by no way, shape or form am I encouraging people to roll the police department. That could be considered littering, and you shouldn't do that.
So we're fixing to wrap it up. Anything else you want to put out to the people? Anything you got? You got a public safety announcement you need?
Download our app. That's one of the best things we've ever done. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office app.
I've got an appointment with that guy the 28th.
Yeah, that's one of the best things. It allows us to put out information really quickly. It gets weather updates and all that automatically, and download our app. It's free, Android and Apple. It's free to download, and so definitely do that, and that allows us to communicate. It's got ways to if you have a complaint or a concern or tips, that you utilize the app for everything. Of course, our office is always open. Our phone lines are open.
Yeah, when me and you talked about that, a lot of people don't know. Me and Shane probably talk once a week, once every couple of weeks, something like that.
Usually.
Having a good working relationship with the other sheriffs and the other municipalities in this district, I mean, it's key.
Yes.
It's a tight group. We got a pretty good tight group right now, and we want to keep it like that. Anywho, we got 30 seconds, so we need to shut her down. What are you gonna do for lunch? You buying?
If I need to, sir. Okay.
Well, I'd appreciate it. You know, I'm always willing to let somebody buy my lunch if they want to help a brother out.
I plan on eating at least 2 or 3 times a day.
Right. At least.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. We'll see y'all
Sheriff,
in
glad to have you.
2 weeks.
you.
Thanks for coming.